Hello and welcome to Inside Nigeria, your favorite newspaper headlines show. In my hand are five Nigerian newspapers from which I'll be reading the major stories from. My name is Tion Joseph and permit me to start with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, the Leadership newspaper. If we take a look at the front page of the Leadership this morning, we have a very unusual design. This is not the usual design, I must say. If you have not considered buying a copy of this paper before, today might just be that day where you head to the nearest newspaper stand by you and grab one. The headline says, "Our stand, security alerts by the US Embassy. Who gains?" Now, the paper is rich, but I won't bother going to the details because there's a full panel discussion in the House that will do justice to this right after I finish reading the headlines. With this, I will move straight to the national economy, which is Leadership's sister publication. The headline there says, "Rising cost of living, austerity Christmas beckons." I also won't say details of all this because that will be done by the panel discussion right after I finish the headlines. On to this day, the lead story says, "President, CBN has my backing to redesign Naira notes." Heading down there, it says, "People with illicit money buried under the soil will have a challenge with this, but workers, businesses with legitimate incomes will face no difficulties at all." The one and only bullet on this day says, "Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance is on the board of CBN to ensure effective coordination." That is what we'll be taking on this day. With this, I'll move straight to the Daily Sun. The lead story on the Daily Sun says, "Abuja residents live in fear amid tight security." First bullet says, "Worship centers record low attendance." And the very last bullet says, "Government stops Abuja vigilantes from bearing firearms." I'll move to the very last Nigerian daily on the list before I hand over to the panel discussion. We'll be taking The Guardian. And on The Guardian this morning, the lead story says, 2023, economy in dire straits. Upstairs candidates go beyond rhetoric. The first bullet says, "Doubts persist over immediate subsidy removal by next government." And the very last bullet says, "Tinubu, Atiku, Obi are pro-market reformers. Good for economy," says Uzum. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned for the first part of the show. Like I said earlier, the show is just getting started. I urge you to stay tuned for the next part of the show. And I'll be back your way tomorrow by 10 a.m. My name is Tion Joseph. Do have a great day.
You must have heard that leadership is forgotten country. True, but it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issue is so unbeatable. They even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Na karanta labarin hirar da aka da Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind. Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is forgotten country. True, but it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issue is so unbeatable. They even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan
Lafiya lau.
wani labari muke da shi yau?
Ina karanta labarin hirar da aka da Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters. Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning. Welcome to the last edition in the month of October. Today, incidentally, is October 31st. This is the last edition of Inside Nigeria for the month. My name is Winifred Ubebo, and with me in the studio is a public and security expert analyst, Comrade Jonathan Onoja. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, as usual, we have papers for review this morning, talking about Nigeria's most influential newspaper, leadership, its sister publication, national economy, THISDAY, The Punch, The Sun newspaper, The Guardian, and The Sun newspaper. Don't go away. We are starting off with leadership. Leadership newspaper. Security alerts by the U.S. Embassy. Who gains? Security alerts by the U.S. Embassy. Who gains? Incidentally, as Stand is on the cover of Leadership newspaper, it is the editorial of the paper. As Stand, security alerts by the U.S. Embassy. Who gains? Since Sunday last week, the nation has been awash with security reports since the security alerts by U.S. Embassy. It has been a bloodbath between the federal government and the US, the UK, the Canada, and Australian governments over security situation in FCT. Why the Western powers insist that there's security infraction in FCT, the federal government says Abuja residents live in fear amid tight security. That is Daily Sun. Abuja residents also on security team. Terror alert. Senators, reps, max 500 million naira stand state. The federal government
Do we believe? That these terror. U.S. embassy has citizens. To do the alert without this type was issued. You are and also some
FCTA and was not verified. I'm apprehending.
in the food. You finish up the errors.
Yes.
General of Police. Who the aware of this terror alert, but they are trying not to bring fears among, create fears. It sounds so funny, so unprofessional that you are aware of a situation, and this will be to inform Nigerians that this is what is happening. So that this is the position you have taken. You did not do so, so that means you are not proactive. They wanted us to fall victims so that they now said, "Oh, we were actually working on this," but it happened. Since the US came up with this, they have been on their toes, and they're trying to work hard to make sure that it's that which US said it never came to pass. But from even what they are doing, you agree with me that what US said is true, and it's not anything wrong. That if you see something, say something and do something, which exactly intelligence report makes the whole thing look so funny and make Nigerians to say, who should we believe? The US embassy, who is a foreign embassy in our land? Is it the people who should not believe? Or our own conventional security architecture that we should have protected us? They're not denying that we should have believed. So I think the pains of the federal government is that when you have such information, when you have such intelligence information, there are appropriate quarters to report these issues so that they cannot know what, so they can take the glory. I have been saying this, that interagency rivalries have become one of the problems why we have not been able to get rid of insecurity in Nigeria. You can imagine that if it was our own DSS that ordered this, that gave us this intelligence report, the police would not want to make any comment because they felt that if you have the intelligence, go and act. Everybody want to take glory. That why not me? So that is why what the IG said. That is why they say why did they bring the report to them for them to act?
So would they have acted? Because many are of the opinion that they may have actually have gotten this intelligence report, but nothing was done.
That is the exact position we took the other day. And when I was speaking with the Commissioner of Police, CP Sunday Babajide, I said this, that if we are blaming the US embassy that they overblown this report or this intelligence report, we ought to have gone there and asked questions. Probably they have informed the relevant authority or agencies, but maybe the way and manner they look at the issues and they did not see them act, because they said we saw this, and then the following day they discover around the embassy that were IEDs recovered around their embassies. So if they have that information, that intelligence,
Leadership's editorial. Not do you see any gains for the US?
banks have standing. They have, proved that the intelligence is more accurate and it's work on worldwide. The US have the best intelligence anywhere. If they were doubting their intelligence, it's not the same US that we had problems or they had problems or one of their own citizens was captured here. They came all the way, rescued, and went back without making noise. Would you doubt them? So why did you doubt them then? That, oh, your people were not captured. Because they may have reported to the relevant agencies and they did not act. So they have to just come and teach them the superior job. So if you guys can do this, we just have to come all the way and to rescue.
And they followed it up by evacuating their citizens.
So the truth is that I look at the issues that they may, like I said, have their own agenda, their own interests. But then I don't see that the interest they have is overriding the people. No. That is why they said, let their own people go. If it is to override our interests, they would have stayed. They would have told the people to stay. Because if you say we are not better, the place is not safe, why are you still staying here? So that would have begun to, pay. And then the question I was there's in the United States of America embassy. What happened? Where we cannot guarantee the security of visitors. What will happen to the indigents or the citizens? So that is where I am beginning to wonder. You said there was no security alert. Such alert does not exist. They're just trying to create fear. Yet you've recovered over 20 IEDs. You've arrested over about 30 terrorists within the shortest period of this information.
No, recently, was it 2-3 months ago, we had Nigeria was awash, or the nation was awash with reports of the breaking at J prisons, and some of these members, Boko Haram members, were free. So does it have anything to also do with it? Because they had 2 hours to have a free day to free the prisoner, free their co group members, and they also had time to lead them in prayers, give out money to those who needed it. I mean, it was just 2 hours of freedom. So what do you have to say about that? And the federal government took in reaction to this U.S. embassy's security alert, did say that because of the onslaught against them, so most of them are finding their way to the FCT. Does it have correlation?
Of course, it does, because you would agree with me that, like you mentioned, but today, 2 months and some days now, when we had the Kuje prison break.
Yes.
A situation, a seat of power, the Federal Capital Territory, where you have the CNC seated, the Federal Capital Territory, where you have the Almighty Villa, the Almighty War College, the Defense Academy, where you have the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, you have the Inspector General of Police seated, you have the Department of State Security Services, DSS, seated, less than 30, 35, 28 kilometers to the Kuje prison. The Kuje prison, when you are coming from the airport road there, you have about 10 security formations around the Kuje prison. The Navy base there, the Army there, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, NSCDC are there. The immigration headquarters too, prisons, they are all there, situated there. Armies are there. We have all commands situated around there. What should have stopped such people to have prevent a situation of such magnitude, where you have a prison break, released all terrorists over two and a half hours? They were still operating. Even had the time to have a prayer section, free inmate, and then give them money unchecked, unmatched, unarrested. Nobody was arrested. And then a few days you begin to see a drama of somebody saying that we have recovered the so person to this place. We have bring person so person back. So you begin to wonder when you have Abiru Sokoto of this world arrested for many years, then dumped in that place, being fueled. You are feeding him with our taxpayers' money, pensions money, all the money are used in feeding such people, and without being released, and all there is no even alternative to fortify our prisons. When the prison break will happen in Enugu, when it happened in Imo State, when it happened in Kogi State, when it was happening in Nasarawa State, where was the Minister of Defense? Where was the Minister of Interior to see that there should be further measures to fortify this prison security? Because that is where you have one of the notorious criminals dumped in this world, and then at the end of the day, these guys are afraid. And you're not telling me that the UX security alert have no correlation with the recent happenings from all these places. Those guys have come back and they came prepared to destabilize the prison. We are telling you, let me say something. Recently, the 7th Battalion guards providing security for the presidential villa was attacked. Recently, the convoy of Mr. President himself was attacked. That was a slap on Mr. President by the side of his wife, wife bed. It's not as someone in your wife's bedroom slapping you when coming inside there. Because if any man has gotten permission into your wife's bedroom, it has entered into your territory. So what are you trying to let me know? What are you trying to teach me? That this threat does not exist. They exist in abundance. But we see we have not been real. There is no realistic approach to fighting insecurity. Just look at what some of the papers are saying. If I am too fast, please tell me to stop. Now let me say this. You have a situation where you want to disarm the vigilantes from bearing firearms. These are people supporting the conventional security architecture we have. Now, the vigilantes are natives of the Federal Capital Territory. They are natives that understand the nooks and crannies of the Federal Capital Territory. When this guy comes at night, we don't have the police, we don't have the DSS, we don't have the NIA to be there. It is those guys that can match with those guys. They now know that they carry, so instead of them to even provide them with sophisticated firearms, they are not trying to even retrieve the one that they are using. So that would mean that federal government, in other words, it is a conspiracy theory. Try to, in other words, disarm these guys, and then in the days to come, these guys will come in. Because anything that happens from the day they disarm them is the responsibility of the government to provide adequate security. It is because they fail in the provision of the adequate security that give birth to what we call the vigilante, the vigilante. Because we cannot say that you want to solve regional approach to the issue. The convention the vigilante today, it is because of the lack of distrust, the mutual distrust between the people and the police. Now, the vigilantes who domicile the locality, who understand the terrain, the community, to be empowered to carry a certain action on behalf of this government security architecture, but with collaboration. That's what we call the JTF, in other words. So the government must begin to reason. What exactly are they looking at? The solution? Security is a solution. Insecurity is the problem. So we've been budgeting for years. We have never budgeted for vigilantes. These vigilantes are either from the community, they suck their funds, some people pays and all of that. We have never budgeted for vigilantes. So if those are we budgeted for, that we say we are budgeting. So I sometimes wonder and I ask, are we budgeting for the problem, which is insecurity, or we are budgeting for the solution, which is security? So if you have been budgeting for years for security, and what we have been experiencing is insecurity, then in other words, we have tried to use the budgeting for solution to increase problems.
Wow. That's a good one. Now I want to find out where are we in terms of insecurity or security? Where are we presently? Why the federal government is busy refuting the claims of a Western government, but at the same time is carrying out raids.
Yes, it's
And
political.
the army or military, they send out their emergency numbers.
It's
So
political.
are we presently? Where are we presently?
The,
Security wise.
the situation we find ourselves has resulted or has further granted Nigerians the opportunity to protect themselves. Like you know,
T.Y. Danjuma 2 weeks ago
have
also made that call.
yes,
Reiterated
exactly
his call that Nigerians should protect
themselves because our security has failed us. Notwithstanding, we must support them. We must also make them to understand that there's need for them to rise.
But there's another thing too, another angle to it. Why these explosives are being discovered or are still being discovered, and some ISWAP members being rounded up. The U.S. embassy is still not satisfied because it's still evacuating its people.
Because there's much to do than what they have done. They see that what they have just done is yes, they've not done anything yet. And then they even felt that there's a compromise. So if you can do this before, why didn't you do it now? So they feel that it's a kind of compromise. These are compromises because we have so many people in the system that have compromised that ordinarily should have attracted a lot of consequences, but we see them go unpunished. Are you with me? So this has further make even the U.S. embassy to see that the Nigerian government is not serious, holistic in their approach to fighting insecurity. We have the National Security Advisor who have told us for over 2 years, 1 year and now, and told us that they have the names of those sponsoring terrorism. And up to this very date, they have not been able to publish the names. The Minister of what they call the one in charge of the judiciary has not been able to come up with anything. Malami has not been able to come up to anything yet tangible. What is stopping the National Security Advisor to publish the names of those sponsoring insecurity?
The UAE also did list some names, Nigerian names too. They're also global financial.
So why do we deceive ourselves for not just reasons? Look, in terrorism, there are chains. There are the leadership cell, the command cell, and then the other one I will keep it. The leadership cells make provisions for all the finances of the operations. The command cells are the leaders of different cells in charge of these groups. If we want to stop every terrorism group from operations in worldwide, one of the first approach is to stop the leadership cells. Once the finances do not flow from the top, the tactical cells, which I decide to keep from you, have an issue. The tactical cell, which are the foot soldiers to operate, will have no finance. The command cells will be having problems with the tactical cell because the tactical cell will be suspecting the command structure. And the command structure have collected money from the leadership cell and have refused to finance the operation of the tactical cell. Tactical cell will become frustrated and begin to operate anyhow, uncoordinated. That is when you begin to arrest a situation of insecurity in the country. But we have not been able to arrest the leadership cell. And we're now going to talk about the command structure, arresting the one of their big, but once we arrest Kabiru Sokoto, we celebrate. Who sponsors Kabiru Sokoto? One we had over the years, the one Kabiru Sokoto was one of the senators' house in the National Assembly. And the senator's name has not been mentioned. Why should Kabiru Sokoto be in the prison and the senator is free? Until we begin to deal decisively with the leadership cell, then the command structure and tactical cell will collapse. This is one of the ways to fight insecurity. The National Security Advisor failed in this regards to publish a name. He lacks the power. So Mr. President needs the political will to look at certain things and do and undo certain things. With that minding, whether you are from Castina, with that mind, whether you are from Imo, with that mind, whether you are from Benue, regardless of ethnics or religious or political inclination, make sure you do what is right at any given time. Today we are all victims of what we refuse to do. Today we are all victims because what is insecurity, uncertainty, Everybody don't know what was going to happen. We're in this studio now. We don't know what's going to happen the next minute. Just a few days, one Brashta Akko was attacked at the houses. And nobody has been able to investigate. Nobody has been able to say, these are the people that did this. So we are all victims of what we have refused to do. So at this point, it is over to the federal government to first and foremost congratulate and salute the doggedness, the intelligence, the advisory of the National Threat Advisory Council of the United Nations, or United States of America, the U.S. Embassy first, before they can further go for clearance operation. Not until that is done. The U.S. Embassy have one of the toppest intelligence globally. So if you think what they said is lie, then you'll be living in denial. To me, they should first approach them, discuss with them, and say, sorry, we have that. We heard you have those intelligence. Can you have a kind of a joint operations with our security if you trust us so? Say, we can lead you. Not until that, because they have the map up of the whole country. They know what they are doing. They know where these financials is. They know where the IEDs are planted. They know what they are doing. They have the map, but we don't even have a surveillance system in this country to know exactly what we are doing. How do we now check certain things? Ask yourself, how? But this guy have the surveillance system from their own from their own globe there, from their own map. They watch whatever is happening. So what do we say? That they don't know what they are saying? I think we're just joking. We're just full of jokers. And it is high time that the so-called service chiefs wake up to the responsibility to do what is right. This is a federal capital territory. I'm not minding whether it's the Inspector General of Police. I'm not minding whether it's the Commissioner of Police in the FCT. I am thinking that it is a slap on our face when we have the whole headquarters of the Nigerian artillery, all the artillery situated here, and we're still having institutions like this. Then what will happen to the state? If we cannot fight it out like this, what happens to the state? So I think we should begin to look. We don't have intelligence gathering and we have lost it. That is one thing that the US is ahead of us. We have lost intelligence gathering, the sense of intelligence. Even when the natives give intelligence, we commonize it, we look down on it. The other time, we imagine
or perhaps there is intelligence gathering, but it ends up on a fight on the table.
I don't think they take intelligence for so serious. Remember, the other time, sorry, the Kaduna Abuja rail attack, you remember, yes, where some persons some days before them say that they saw some persons paraded into a particular forest with motorcycles in large numbers. That's an intelligence information that should be acted on. What happened? Nothing was done. So we've lost it. It is the natives that give the intelligence yet. But our own security architecture did not do anything. Our security person did not do anything. Then a few days after, they attacked the Kaduna Abuja rail attack. The question I've been asking them here, it seems, is that Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Army Staff, please, they have kidnapped, they have, carried some persons, and then they are demanding ransoms. What happened to the personnel that were inside the train? The question I've been asking, people are not thinking about it, is that where the personnel also are kidnapped, because we've never had any policeman killed or kidnapped there. What happened? An eyewitness said when the people were coming, the policemen in the removed their uniforms and kept it there. Then the question I'm asking is that were they kidnapped along? Let's leave the drama. Were they kidnapped along? Are people not asking questions? There is a connivance. Have we not seen army police arrested? The one that happened in Kwara, where they arrested some thieves, and they said the government of Amara said it was a policeman that gave us the arms. So we have corrupt system. We have what is affecting the fight against insecurity is political and systemic corruption that have eaten the fabric of everything in the country. So what are we truly fighting? Are we truly fighting insecurity? Or we are support? Are we truly even fighting insecurity? Or we are supporting the budget to be growing for security? Our budget is not for security. Our budget over the years have been for insecurity. Because it's a problem we've been giving the money. The more the problem grows, the more the budget grows. So we should begin to look at issues on that perspective and then know exactly what Mr. President should do. Mr. President has so far brings service chiefs. But I keep asking the question, what is a measurement for every service chief in office? There should be a measurement.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you are playing a game, if you have gotten to first grade, they'll mark you green. When you are able to kill or fight some certain things, you go to second, they mark you green. What parameters?
No, comrade, if I may chip in, I think the measurement for their success, all these service chiefs in office, is the hold of Boko Haram in the northeast. Because the last time President Buhari visited Imo State, some local governments talking
Look,
about
Mr.
it,
President,
no longer dead, so we are
Yobe again. There's no book. I will put up.
the governor has been saying.
Commander. They are currently insecure. Because Mr. President is working. Relocate to Benue. Waste of our resources. It's a time we said we are. What is the solution? There's no guarantee. And then this you have certain things, and because they say student who just returns to back got a when it is time for them to vote. Natural phenomena that affected losing their life to 2 million people. and you have also another set of they will not have house to stay. Will be breeding in the nearest future. So people you cannot trace their home, people you cannot trace their identity. Security that is coming up for what the employment rate must be set. Then another aspect again, you a leader. Starting primary campaign promises is another set of insecurity. I have mentioned it before. Food stocks and all of that. When we begin to do more of export than import, you begin to do that one of insecurity. When you begin to do more of consumption than production, you begin to have more of insecurity. So these are insecurity that government must begin to provide solutions to with security.
Thank you so much. That was quite wonderful. Now we are looking, we are talking about security issues. Now, presently, what's the way forward? Has it with what and has it helped?
We have FCT. I'm talking about FCT. Someone was attacked. Hoodlums, I can't call. We're talking.
I think that this has also put our
Well, let's hold intelligence, but I know very well that the lacuna in the system all that other we have not seen that going to end insecurity. In fact, insecurity is a thing of the past. We have not seen it. So our it's not the same military, paramilitary that he has been issuing those orders to that are still going to still be on their toes. I don't see them on their toes. They are on their knees. They must stand up to the issues and fight a just cause.
No, comrade, in 2020 audit that was carried out in federal government MDAs and even police too, it was discovered that about almost 200,000 firearms from the police were missing and not accounted for. And up to date, the IG did not respond to it. And the issue has been proliferation of weapons in Nigeria today. So perhaps what can be done about it? And you also mentioned that somebody that was caught in which state said he borrowed the gun from police.
Well,
And even an army too was also found. We saw the trending video. We saw bullets that he was trying to smuggle to bandits. So what should be done about this?
you see,
And you also talked about culpability of police too, complicity.
yes, we have a whole lot of firearms not accounted for, and then in the hands of illegal actors. You see, the truth is that we cannot go away from there now, because until we are be able to round up the current operations before we go to the clearance operations. It is during the clearance operations that you can begin to recover these firearms. Now, if you give or take, Nigeria is recorded one of the country possessing illegal firearms in the hands of indigenes, even though we are not talking about the one that are not licensed. You don't expect the Inspector General of Police to comment on an issue that he knows very well he may be a victim. Why am I saying this? The firearms, all firearms from the Inspector General of Police, from the police, Inspector General of Police supposed to account for. Why has the Senate not invited him? Why is the National Assembly? Why have they not invited him to comment on these issues? So until his comment, I can't make further comment. Until his comment, my people say it is the water that comes out of the fish that you use in cooking the fish. Let him come and defend this. Like they are saying that the US, this and the not exist. Let him come and defend that first. Then we'll know the questions to pose to him.
8 months to go for this present administration. What is this present administration going to be handing over to the incoming government? Is it a country fraught with high insecurity, just as it's inherited also?
I don't think just as he inherited. A lot of things have gone so bad. A lot of things have gone so bad that the current situations cannot be used to look back 5-6 years back. When Mr. President came in, one of his key issues is the fight against corruption
and security. Yes.
I want to say that none of these have been achieved, and it's a shame on Mr. President, a commander-in-chief who have been at the theater that understand the template of the theater, yet fail woefully in fighting insecurity. There is nothing this government can hold on that they have successfully handled. We have a government that someone stole money, allegedly, and they say this money was meant for the clearance of the grasses around the Federal Capital Territory.
Yes.
And later he said, who is the presidency? Nothing has happened till today. He's even daring who is the president. Nothing happened. We have a country where now
it was removed anyway.
Where about the SGF now. Still ongoing, although it has been his account for you see how he ended up being corrupted. You hear me? So a lot of issues happen in this administration, and you begin to wonder. It was in this administration I begin to learn how snakes can swallow money, how rats can swallow or eat money. A lot of things happen in this government, and you begin to wonder: is it the man that promised to fight corruption, or is this the man that is no more? Which man are we actually honoring as president? Is it Mr. President that said that when it comes on board, that Nigerians will live freely, a lot of food security will be guaranteed, we will not be buying rice for the one we are. I prefer to go back. It's like the days of the Bible would describe, the days of the Israelite. Take me back to my promised land. That is where I come. If 2015 was better for me,
No,
I want to go back to
back
2015.
to Egypt.
They take me back to Egypt. I don't want to come here and die. That is the situation we find ourselves now. Because we have a situation where 2015 we can buy a bag of rice for as small as 12,000-15,000. Today, my rice is finished. And I cannot even buy rice for 37,000-40,000 naira. Because Mr. President is here. I guarantee that I can buy everything will be free, almost free. Today, you can imagine, my son's school fees was also amount before. Now I am paying times 3. Why is this so? The money, this marginal input they come here, you see that the money is big. A graduate earning 50,000 naira is nothing, because there's no what? There's no guarantee. There's no transportation cost has increased. The cost of living everywhere has increased under a president that promised that everything will be well. This president is the president that Nigerians came up in mass to vote in our history. This president was the president that Nigerians so love to give everything, every support. No minded. This president was a president that even the widows, the widowers, the orphans were ready to drop their 100 naira. The purchasing of his presidential ticket, everything for him in years back. This is a president that we had that told us that when he comes on board, every Nigerian will be equal. Today, we are not equal in some hands of some ethnic groups. Today, when you mention some ethnic groups, you are a problem. This is a president that we allow someone to come on air, tell Nigerians that Boko Haram terrorists should be given amnesty. I don't understand this president that we have. I must say this in honest. I must say this in honest. Nigerians are angry. Nigerians are suffering. We are suffering. The current situation now has even turned to bring this land called Japa. Yeah. Everybody's trying to Japa from here. Where do we go to? Our own land. A lot is happening, my sister. We are a problem. We are a problem. What is otherwise? The issues that happen around the what they call around the Kuje as it shouldn't have happened if you have functional and effective intelligence. Why am I saying this? If you are coming from the Maraba Nigerian axis, going through the Karishi axis, you have the military base there that you can intercept any kind of terrorist attacks there. If you are also coming from the Kuje axis there, you have the military formations that would have intercept any kind of emergency there. If you are coming from the Zuba axis, the Mina and all of that, you have all it takes the commands there to have intercept every emergency there. Where should they disappear from? If not because our border is so porous, compromise standard at our border today is going to Turkey to go and get drones. When we have thought that we had drones in other time, this government promised that by the time that when the Kaduna Abuja rail will start, they will be having helicopters in accompanying Nigerians from the various destinations there, from Abuja to Kaduna and from Kaduna to Abuja. We never saw that. So is that a promise failed? And today, the managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation has not been sacked. He's still eating fat. Just because they recovered, they just went and lobbied and get the remaining 23 adoptees out. They are not talking about how they can open the railway station. The first thing first is to sack him. He failed. He's one of the first person Nigerians should come out and let him be sacked. He has not shown capacity to be there as a managing director of such institution. That is why when the Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Amechi, came up and said, I requested for so and so, it was not given. That is a clear definition of a man. And Mr. President did not agree that part. So why is it that this man did not come up to say that, yes, the helicopter that they promised I requested for this, but this was not given. And today now, I know he will be in his house. He will be happy to see how he can recover. When billions have been paid individually to recover lives. When people that don't have capacity takes over position, what you'll be having is going to be what? Fruitless activities. Let me show.
We still have 8 months or 7 months.
It is, well, Mr. President have assured us that within the shortest period, he's going to put everything in order. He wants to leave Nigeria. Perhaps the way he met it in 2015, not better than anyway. But I hope we will be able to merge with what we have in 2015, so that by December, Nigerians can celebrate. And the fact that look at the policy of government is not, they are not thinking straight to have policies. Why is Mr. President giving position to people who are moving up and down like headless chicken? People don't understand that they don't have capacity to manage institutions of government. You cannot come and tell me that you don't have surplus in for your consumption, and then you have closed border for importation of rice and other things, commodities. I am not saying that we should begin to appreciate importation rather what we call consumption, but at least we should have enough for our consumption before we begin to talk about exposure.
Because of the food security
maybe we will have to consider before leaving when the house drove finally, and then you should know that NSCDC, we have a government that this of recent, what our people cannot do, what the people we are paying our tax to, that they are paying their salary, our army couldn't do it, the police, the navy, air force that are there couldn't do it. The Tartilian security led by Tompolo intercepted a whole vessel that was carrying crude from this place for our own territory. If we have this kind of people, an independent body, a private security company owned by a man that understands the nooks and cranny, now what are we supposed to do? Instead of the government to investigate, they rather destroy evidence.
immediately.
Why should they destroy evidence? The man of God, Apostle Suleiman Johnson, was just attacked of recent. One victim, one of these suspects were arrested. What happened to the suspect? Immediately they were told he was released. What is happening?
It was killed.
If it was, that means that they have destroyed evidence, released or killed. Did you see the cops?
No, we saw the.
Did you see the cops?
The video that trended.
Oh, the video that trended. Anybody can be used as a cops.
Anyway, comrade, we've come to the end of today's program. So soon. Comrade, it's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you, it's my
I
pleasure.
look forward to having more of you, same way more.
Thank you.
In the program. Your comrade, Jonathan Onoja, the security analyst. My name is Fumi Kotodo. Viewers, don't forget, tomorrow, same time, same station, is another day. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is for God and country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issues is so unbeatable. We even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan wani labari muke da shi yau?
Na karanta labarin hirar da aka da Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.